Hey everybody, and welcome to The Index. I'm your host, Alex Kehaya, and this week I'm excited to be joined by Josh Reyes from Local Solana, a decentralized peer-to-peer exchange. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Alex. Good to be here.
So tell me what you guys do, Josh.
So Local Solana is a decentralized P2P exchange, like you said. I guess I'll give a bit of a background to start, and that'll kind of maybe give some color to the journey. So before this, we've also co-founded another decentralized P2P exchange called OpenPeer, which is an EVM exchange. It's on Ethereum, Polygon, BSC, and essentially all the major EVM networks. We've been building that for over a year now. Before that, we also built a stablecoin wallet called Minke, which was acquired by Zengo last year. And during this process, we really got on a journey and learning about stablecoins, especially in the emerging market use case where people are buying stablecoins for remittances, savings, and generally to get US dollars, because it is essentially the easiest way to get dollars outside of Western countries. Through that process, we've really become huge fans of Solana. It started when we were building a wallet. We were just in love with the UX behind many Solana products, and we ended up copying a lot of the flows that people like Ultimate Wallet were doing at the time, Phantom, Backpack. Just that it had this really inbuilt simplicity that was much easier than the EVM products. From there, you really saw this explosion of payments. I think a lot of it's coming to the forefront now with PayPal, Stripe, Shopify. And now what we're seeing on our EVM product, which is OpenPeer, is that over 50% of our support tickets now are people asking for Solana. Even the people that are buying stablecoins on our EVM product are using bridges to bridge those products to Solana. So we're bringing that trading directly on chain to Solana. So users can essentially connect with somebody else, generally in their country or their region where they're using the same currency, and they can swap between crypto and fiat completely seamlessly and in a self-custodial fashion.
Oh, sorry. I think I was still muted. Sorry, I was still muted there. I was asking what countries are people coming from that want to swap? Like they're buying on OpenPeer and it's on an EVM chain and they want to move to Solana. Like what countries are they from? What are they doing with that USDC once it's on Solana? And just generally, like, tell me more about the users and like why they're coming and wanting USDC or I guess a stable coin. It's not necessarily USDC. It's stable coin. Oh, you're on mute, I think.
Cool. Yeah,
there you go.
Okay. Yeah, so OpenPeer now is primarily USDT. I think that'll change a little bit as we launch our Solana product, Local Solana, just because you see that now. I think it's 74% today, which is the USDC dominance on Solana. So likely that'll change with that product. But in terms of countries, it's really mixed. There's this obvious use case in emerging market countries, so like Nigeria, Brazil, India, where it's just very hard to get dollars, whether people are sending money abroad from Nigeria, let's say, to the US to buy whatever products and import them from a business perspective, or from an individual perspective, if you have diaspora working, let's say, in Western countries and want to send money back home, then they use stablecoins for that as well. But you also have people generally in some Western countries these days using P2P exchanges, OpenPeer as well, where you do have these restrictions. Let's say Canada, for example, where I spent some time growing up. I think there's a $30,000 limit for purchasing crypto outside of Bitcoin, ETH, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash, which are some odd options. So if someone does want to buy Solana in Canada today, they're capped at $30,000. And maybe for the very average or low end retail user, that's not a lot, but for the bigger people and the people that we want really in the space that are taking like high conviction bets, that caps them out. So it is a way to get around these restrictions and buy from different merchants in a sense.
Interesting. And can you talk to me more about the user base? Like what kind of volumes you're seeing on OpenPeer versus what you expect to see on Local Solana, and kind of what your goals are for the project going forward?
Yeah, so we have about 10,000 people that have placed a trade now on OpenPeer, doing over $100,000 in volume a month. We've launched about 11 months ago now. In terms of Local Solana, so that'll be launching in July. We're super excited about that. Like I said, over 50% of our support tickets are on Solana. And I guess with whatever we built, both Local Solana and OpenPeer, we've had this thesis that users are moving on chain because really the only opportunities in crypto today exist on chain. You can think of meme coins as the best example. If you're buying a meme coin today on Binance, it's generally too late. You might get a 2 or 3x, but people that are buying meme coins aren't looking for a 2 to 3x, right? They're looking for that 100x opportunity. Whether it's DeFi, meme coins, GameFi, all those opportunities exist on chain. And really the on-chain hub today is on Solana, right? If you look at Ethereum today, I think gas or Gwei, which is used to chart gas fees, it's at single digits, which sometimes you would see on a weekend in a bear market, and it's almost every day now. So yeah, we're expecting to see a big jump when we launch Local Solana. There's a bunch of demand there, and really just from this on-chain user base, because you're able to go straight from fiat to crypto in countries where you just aren't able to directly into your wallet right now.
Yeah. What's the blocker there? Can you walk me through a couple countries and the example of like why they can't go from fiat to crypto and the different ways that you guys are enabling that onboarding to happen?
So how essentially, let's say a traditional on-ramp works today in the US, which regulation, maybe people will complain about it, but at least it's there. So banks and other providers can work with crypto companies. So if you are a traditional regulated crypto company and you want to on-ramp users, and you're like a payment processor, let's say like a MoonPay or even Stripe have their own crypto on-ramp, they get a banking partner or a payment provider partner that is able to take those payments, send you the cash, and then you convert that into crypto for the user. In countries, let's say like Nigeria and India, that's just impossible because one, there actually is generally no crypto regulation. And the regulation that's there, the guidance that's there is that if you're a bank and you deal with crypto companies, your bank will have problems. So essentially banks are banned from working with crypto companies. So in that sense, as a user, you're completely unable to actually send money to a crypto company for them to convert that fiat into crypto. So what happens, because in these countries, crypto is a need, right? If you're in Nigeria, I think the currency is inflated over 100% just this year. You need crypto for savings, or you need crypto for remittances because you can't get dollars in the country right now. So money will always find a way to move, and how that moves is through P2P merchants. So you can kind of think about it like a decentralized network. These merchants pop up, and instead of sending to a company, you're sending to multiple bank accounts to get the dollars you need. Peer-to-peer really isn't, in a sense, two people trading between each other. It is in some countries and on some exchanges, but on the very big exchanges, let's say like Binance P2P, you have these merchants, which I'll probably mention multiple times during the podcast today, that essentially are like market makers. They ensure an efficient market. They sit in the middle. They will buy and sell crypto and fiat. They'll make a spread. And they essentially function like traditional market makers would work on a centralized exchange, but they're on the P2P exchange, helping you move between crypto to fiat. And they ensure that these trades get done in a tight spread and generally very quickly as well. So if you've ever traded on Binance P2P or an exchange like OpenPeer, if you're trading with a professional merchant who has done thousands of trades, you'll usually notice that trade happens within 5 minutes, which actually sometimes is better than a lot of traditional processors as well.
So I'm in Nigeria and I like walk up to a kiosk or something and I like buy USDT from somebody and then they go and they trade it.
There are those cases in some countries where you have in-person shops. I think Turkey is one case. Our team was in like Dev Connect for in Istanbul last year. And you do have shops where you can go and buy Tether. You have some throughout Asia as well. In a country like Nigeria, where crypto is almost de facto banned, you don't really have these shops, but you just work through instant bank transfers. So there is like an instant bank transfer network, almost like a Venmo, but it's just bank account to bank account that every bank account is hooked up onto, that these payments are made. In bigger sizes, sometimes, you'll meet a merchant with cash. But generally in every country now, P2P is done through, just instant bank transfers. In Europe, you'll have N26, Revolut, Monzo, and these providers. Let's say in Nigeria and India, you have an instant bank network. And a lot of Asia actually has that. Whereas in the US, you have kind of payment processors providing that, like Venmo and PayPal. Actually, if you go outside the West, payment processors are actually quite advanced in a sense that it's actually more advanced than the American banking system. The problem is you just can't get dollars is what everybody wants. But you can make these instant transfers just on the public network. In Brazil, that's called Pix, and that's provided actually by the government itself, and all the banks are hooked up into it.
What do you know? A functional government that like a dysfunctional government that actually made a payment system that works. I do wish we could get that in the US. We don't have that today. Our payments channels are quite slow.
One day I think.
So you guys use third parties. You integrate in these places that you guys are integrated with. Already support the banking infrastructure for like real-time payments, which makes it a lot easier to do this peer-to-peer market where like one payment rail is a blockchain, the other payment rail is like traditional rails. And that's how it's kind of going down.
Exactly. We don't have to integrate the payment rail itself. We essentially get hooked up with these merchants that process the trade for you. So actually, OpenPeer isn't a party to the trade. We never custody your crypto. We never custody your fiat. But we have a network of merchants, or sometimes just regular individuals who are trading P2P on the other end. You connect with them, and then you say, hey, I have $100 in this fiat currency, and I want 100 USDT. They'll put their funds into escrow. You make the payment to them, and then if they receive the payment and everything's good, that USDT gets released from escrow, and it goes into your wallet. And then if there are disputes, which are very unlikely, less than 1% of trades, even I'd say less than 0.1% of all trades, then there is a module where we can step in and then resolve that dispute based on any evidence. I think you're on mute.
I keep having to mute because people are going in and out of my office right now. But I was asking how that actually works. Does it take like a manual process, or what does that look like to do the disputes?
Yeah, so it is a manual process that's done by our team now. Like every P2P exchange, so Binance P2P have their team of moderators, Paxful have their team of moderators as well. So we have an internal team that does that and reviews the evidence, and they're experienced, and especially the markets that where we're let's say have users in, not exactly operating in, but have users in. So we know what bank transfers look like. We can spot fraud when there is. Like I said, it's a very, very small amount of fraud that's attempted. But in the case that, let's say, you don't pay what you've said to the merchant, and then they say, hey, I haven't received the funds, but you're saying, hey, I did pay. In that case, both parties can open a dispute and submit evidence, so screenshots of bank details, any chat, which is all encrypted as well, so any screenshots from the chat. Then we review that evidence and then make a decision. In the future, we do want to decentralize that to the community. Like I said, we right now are in a way not a party to the trade. Unlike traditional P2P exchanges where they kind of provide the escrow for you, everything's smart contract based, or I guess in Solana it's program based. So everything will live in your local Solana account. We don't have no access to that. And then everything can move around from that account in through escrow through our program. And it's all gasless as well. So even if you have no funds in your wallet and you just want to get started, you can interact with these programs. We run a relayer in the background. It's provided by Anza. I think they used to be part of Solana Labs. It's called Octane. So yeah, you can interact with these programs, but at no point are we actually the ones that are holding any funds. And we do want to get to a point where even when it comes to disputes, we're not the ones resolving those disputes. It's actually the community doing that. And you have these local pools of moderators that are able to really have a deep understanding how things are happening, let's say in Nigeria or India or the Philippines, and then can use that wealth of evidence from thousands of trades to make the right decision in a dispute.
So why are you working on this? Like, what's driving you to build this product of all the things you could be doing right now?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think why I got into crypto in 2017. I wrote a tweet about this, about nihilism in crypto, but actually everybody complains about nihilism now. But I think that was like a weird time. I was graduating from university at the time. Housing market where I lived was crazy, and crypto kind of seemed this way out off the traditional system that maybe you could end up on top. But it seemed like this separation of money and state that really seemed very important at the time. And so the thing that really drove me to actually wanting to build in crypto was first stablecoins. So we started building a stablecoin wallet called Minke because I saw this is actually kind of the path to where we get to the separation of money and state. If people first leave their domestic currencies, let's say like the Indian rupee, the naira, it is hard to go to Bitcoin right away, right? It's volatile, it's hard to understand, it's expensive. I'm not sure if Bitcoin will be the non-state money that everybody eventually adopts. It is the leader, but that is a future that's far away. But a future that is happening right now is stablecoin adoption. So we got started building a wallet that would just make this stablecoin adoption much, much easier. It was, again, entirely gasless. It kind of felt like a Venmo or a Revolut. But while we were building that, we realized that actually isn't the problem is for the user experience. There's actually a lot of teams trying to build a better user experience for stablecoins and crypto now. People complain about it a lot, but if you go back to 2017, it's 100x better. And I think within 5 years' time, again, it'll be 100x better again. And it'll probably be a lot better than the traditional banking system. And in actually most cases, I would say it already is better than the traditional banking system. If you look at some of the old school banking apps, especially in the US today. But the problem was actually that even if you did provide a way for people to send these stablecoins, they just actually couldn't get the stablecoins for the reasons that I said before. One, crypto companies can't get banking partners in these countries, so there's no way a centralized provider can actually do that swap for you from from fiat to crypto. And then also, if they somehow can, like through an offshore provider, let's say right now you could use MoonPay in Nigeria or you could use MoonPay in Brazil, but you're usually using debit or credit cards, which not a lot of people have in these countries. And because of processing those transactions on a debit or credit card, the fees are crazy, sometimes over 10%, which is just completely restrictive for people actually getting funds in their wallet. So
But if that's the case, then how are they doing the trades the way you're talking about, where like it's done over the instant payment wires? Like, how do I, if I can't use a credit card, there's not like a website I have to like.
Yes, so you're not using a credit card, you're just using your instant transfer.
Okay. So there's like a
payment network, which is completely.
I guess I would need to see it. I need to go look at it, but it's basically like a UI where it lists all the people who are willing to send me USDT, and then I just send them. Like I chat with them, and I'm like, hey, I need $100 worth of USDT. Send me your wiring instructions. And they send me it's like Venmo where they send me like a username and I can log into my bank and they can just and I can just send it that way.
Exactly. So even simpler than that. So it starts from almost like a Uniswap or a Jupyter-like UI where you say, hey, I have 100, let's say, euros, and I want 100 USDT. So you put that in, you say, find ads, then we show you, generally, depending on the country, 7 to 10 people that you can purchase from. You see some stats as well, like how many times they've traded, what their reputation is. You can choose them. And in most cases, these funds are going to already be in their local Solana account. So they'll get locked automatically from their account and put into escrow. You'll see their payment details only then. then you can send directly to their bank account or whatever payment app they're using, let's say Venmo, and then you mark that contract or you mark that trade as paid, which will actually lock it in the escrow. They'll receive a notification, they'll check their banking app and see, hey, I have received that 100 euros and I'll release the funds, and it'll go straight from that escrow into your wallet.
Yeah, so the real value here is the escrow and the automation of the communications. Like you're just taking that need to even have a conversation out of it. And it's just like, hey, I saw you're listed there as like willing to give me money. I gave you money. It locked in your money in the escrow account. And now there's like, and then the last thing you have to do is as the merchant is just hit approve. And once you hit approve, that money gets sent over.
Exactly. It's essentially a P2P marketplace, or that's what it is. We call it a P2P exchange because I guess that's the traditional term now, but it is a marketplace where people connect and trade, and then we just try to make that process as trustless as possible.
And is there like a way to prevent censorship here? Because I feel like, I guess they would have to just look at, like in a place like Nigeria or something that doesn't want crypto to be accessible. They obviously don't want a peer-to-peer market like this to exist. Right? Like they're going to try to figure out ways to stop people from doing this, but it'd be really hard because you'd have to be able to identify these trades somehow. Right? Like, and you can't.
Exactly.
You can't really.
It's in most cases, it's just individuals trading between.
Yeah, it just looks like somebody sent you $100. Like, what are you supposed to say?
Yeah, I've heard from somebody that they had, when they were a P2P trader, they had 130 different bank accounts that they were using. So
wow.
In Nigeria, like I said, money will find a way when it always does. I think Eric Voorhees, I really like one quote that he has, that capital will always go to where it's most respected, and there's just no way you can stop it. And that's really the case in these countries. They have capital controls, but capital will always find a way out. And crypto is actually just the easiest way for that to happen now. So, yeah, as a regulator, really the only answer is actually maybe properly regulate this, right? And create an industry where jobs are created and people can fairly use these systems. We really don't think that is the future, just because if you actually look at a lot of these governments where you have massive inflation and capital controls, they're not incentivized, right? The thing about separating money from state is that when money and state are together, there is a lot of power, right? And if the government can control money printing, and if they can control the issuance of the currency and everything to do with money, they do have a lot of power over their citizens. And it's our belief and our thesis that in a lot of these countries, that's just not going to get better, right? Because governments don't want to give that up. We'd love if they did and created a great ecosystem in these countries, because they need better money rails, right? But it's just not the reality and just not how things have gone.
So where do you go from here? Like, what are you most excited about? You're going to ship on Solana, but like, what's the master plan? How big does this get for Local Solana?
Yeah, so our plan is to be the entry point or the bridge between fiat and crypto. Last cycle at its peak, Binance P2P was doing over $7 billion in annual volume. And how I actually look at Binance P2P is it's the on-ramp for Binance's core products, which are their perp trading, their spot trading. I think they even have an NFT platform as well. But like I said, everybody is moving on-chain now. I didn't expect it to be through meme coins, but that is the Trojan horse into everything else. And we believe, that on-chain is the place where crypto will happen from now on, whether it is meme coins, DeFi, GameFi, providing AI tools. Users do need to get on-chain, and we just want to be that entry point. So we'll have our exchange and marketplace live, maybe when this podcast is out in July. Or you can also trade on our EVM exchange now. But what we really want, and you can also see what we're doing with other people in the Solana ecosystem, is really just to be a tool, like an infrastructure tool that they can use. So if you are a wallet or you're a dApp or you're an exchange and you want to on-ramp users in places where it is really hard to on-ramp them, like Nigeria, I think Bonkbot has a goal to get 200 million Nigerians on board. So if you want to actually get those users who are massive crypto adopters, and yes, they're using crypto for savings and remittances, but a lot of them are degens and they do want to trade meme coins and they do want a better financial system, right? Because the financial system in their country doesn't actually work. So they're really the perfect DeFi user. So if you do want to get them, reach out to us at Local Solana, or if you're building an EVM product, reach out to us at OpenPeer, and we can get you integrated.
Tell me about the composability. If, you need this to compose easily with other tools if you're going to enable what you're talking about. So is it open source? Or like how do people integrate with what you're building? I think you already have a Jupyter integration like built in, right? I'm not sure if I saw that before in a demo or something, but
it's not a Jupyter integration. So that was through Coinbase Wallet. So yeah, you can just go on Coinbase Wallet, put in OpenPeer like a DApp, and it looks I guess exactly like Jupyter.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So
that's on the EVM side, but for the local Solana one, you should definitely do that with Jupyter. Like it's a great like get them trading immediately. Just use Jupyter's tech or Worker or something like that, right? Radium under the hood. Just
exactly.
Route it directly to, on-chain liquidity.
Yeah, exactly. So Jupyter, even like Phantom and Backpack, really any Solana wallet is where we want to be kind of front and center for these countries. Everything's composable from an API side. So we'll provide almost like a widget, like you see MoonPay on a lot of products now.
Mm-hmm.
You see it on OpenSea, you see it on Magic Eden. You see it on a lot of crypto casinos as well. I think 50% of MoonPay's revenue actually comes from these crypto casinos. It'll be a widget that you can just have there. It'll just hook into the user's wallet connection. So if they're using, let's say, Phantom to connect to your DApp, they will automatically be plugged into the widget, and then they can top up their Phantom wallet and then use that within your DApp. But we'll provide all the docs for the programs as well. So you can use Solana's CPI tooling, which is a cross-program invocation, to interact directly on chain as well. But I think for most dApp developers, we'll be releasing the widget shortly after the exchange launch, and we'd love to have you test it out.
And where are you guys based as a company?
So we're a remote team. So I'm based in Lisbon in Portugal. A few of the team members are here. I think Infi, who's our intern, I guess the intern is the name now, but kind of marketing and BD. He's based in India. We have some teammates in Nigeria as well. If you are looking to join a project, we are hiring everywhere. If you look at all these P2P exchanges in the past that have been successful, local Bitcoins, local Ethereum, now local Solana, or even Binance P2P, they were very, very global teams. A lot actually based in Australia as well in the past, but it doesn't really need to be set up in one physical location. We want to have a remote team that can interact with traders, let's say in Nigeria or India, to onboard them, because this marketplace only gets better the more liquidity we have, and I guess the wider our reach is in these countries.
Have you guys raised funding yet, or any outside investors? Or are you gonna raise any more in the time?
Yeah, we've raised a seed round through. So we went through the Outlier Ventures Accelerator with our EBM product in early 2023, and since I've raised a seed round, some really great investors, Baboon VC, YBB Capital, W3I.
Outlier.
Generally, investors that come from a lot of an emerging markets background, so a lot through Asia, that maybe I guess in kind of the Western cryptosphere you don't hear of them, because a lot of people I guess in the Western crypto market just don't understand this problem, right? You can just go to Coinbase, you can just go to MoonPay, buy with your credit card, debit card, or buy with like the instant bank transfers on these networks, and it works easily. And if you have that, I actually think you should use those tools, because it's great that the government has some regulation that allows you to do that, and you can usually do that for a good fee. But if you can't do that because you are blocked in a lot of these countries, through Africa, Southeast Asia, or I think Mert always posts on Twitter about how he can't buy because Canadians are blocked for $30,000. So or if you're capped out on your $30,000 limit in Canada, give Local Solana a try.
Amazing. What have I not asked you that I should have asked? That's always my last question before we wrap the show.
Oh, That's a good one. Yeah, I guess let's maybe how you can follow along. So yeah, follow along on Twitter. So the ticker's really easy, or the tag's really easy. It's Local Solana. Join our Discord, and get involved with the community. That's actually sometimes the best way to find a match if you're not in a country where people are trading often. I think somebody reached out in our EVM Discord the other day. I think they're in Mauritius, which I didn't even know people trade crypto there, and they were looking for someone to trade with. But we got them onboarded. They have an ad. But now if somebody else joins the community, they'll know that, hey, this is somewhere you can chat. So yeah, it's not just a good place to meet on the exchange and do a quick trade. Come join the community, because yeah, you can probably find some other crypto friends in there that are willing to trade with you. A lot of our investors actually have come from even the 2015 class of crypto, where local Bitcoins was the only way, in many cases, to on-ramp and off-ramp. And a lot of them have told me, like, a lot of their best crypto friends have come from just meeting in person on local Bitcoins. I think those stories don't happen anymore, but we'd love that to happen in our community.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show. I'm really excited to see how you guys progress, and wish you the best of luck.
Thanks. Awesome to be here. Appreciate it.